This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're gonna acknowledge me.
What's going on, everybody, guys and girls? Welcome back to another edition of the SmackDown Review right here on the WWE Podcast. As always, I'm one of the hosts of this show, Michael Ritter. You can find me on Twitter, Michael5Ritter, and also one of the hosts of the Football Function Podcast, available on all of your podcasting platforms, including the one that you are likely listening to this show on right now. But joining me on today's episode, my humble co-host, John Carrasco. John, how we doing, buddy? Oh, yeah, and you can find John on Twitter at Big Speaker. That's BIGG_Speaker. John, how we doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Of course, I'm in here, Funky Town, ready to break it down. And, getting to this exciting episode of SmackDown, in my opinion. I kind of felt like it lived up to, of course, the storyline that we're following. And, man, it's just leaving me with the suspense of what's next, every week. So that's where I'm at.
They're doing a good job of keeping you coming back, teasing some stuff that they're going to include the next week just to kind of get you excited. I felt like this was a pretty good episode, though. Just the matches that we got, I felt like they delivered. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of interesting, backstage segments and just promos in general, face-to-face encounters that kind of really told the story tonight. Excuse me. But what was your overall assessment of the week, I guess, just in wrestling? Because I was able to tune into Raw. I thought there was some interesting moments there. It's always good to see Lita. That's always one of the highlights.
I do get to
getting a chance to see that. Edge not necessarily winning his opportunity against Austin Theory because of Finn Balor sneaking in there late. That's definitely devastating, but it's setting up for likely a pretty interesting WrestleMania match between Finn Balor and Edge, which I would definitely sign up for. But, other than that, getting a chance to see, hopefully, Lita hold another championship in the WWE, that would be pretty cool. Well, her and Becky Lynch are, possibly going to take out Damage Control to steal those championships. Would that be something that you would get behind, seeing those championships go to Lita and Becky Lynch?
Well, I think that would be kind of tough because I don't think Lita is a permanent option, I guess you could say. It feels like she's kind of just like spotty. Given the circumstances that she's came back and everything like that. But for the belts to move, yeah, fine. Let's get them off of Damage Control, kind of get some liveliness to them, I guess you could say. It feels like they're just being hoarded at this point in time, and not really doing anything with it. But if it was to happen, man, I would be okay with it, but I'd know it wouldn't be a permanent thing if Becky and Lita won.
For sure. It would be short term. It would just be for the pop, getting a chance to tell their kids, "Oh, I won a championship with Lita," or "Oh, I had a title run with Lita." That'd be pretty cool. Like if you're Becky Lynch, getting a chance to add that to your already impressive resume.
Mm-hmm. And I do feel like Becky Lynch, she said that Lita was her favorite growing up and everything like that. So for them to do that, that'd be kind of cool. Just a little history, I guess you could say.
Yeah, was this the Raw that we had to face off with Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes, or no?
I don't know. Was it the week
before?
I remember last week.
Okay, that was probably the week before. My days kind of start to roll together.
I want to say this one was Paul Heyman.
It actually was. You were very correct. It was Paul Heyman with the neck brace on. Mm-hmm. So that was an interesting moment. But you ready to get into this SmackDown?
Oh, yeah.
Where did it take place at?
I don't know. That was too fast for me too. I didn't catch it like how it normally is displayed with the SmackDown and sign and everything like that. So I didn't see where it was. Yeah. I didn't hear if it was.
It was straight video package. Whenever I went in, and it was just Sami Zayn and everything that's been going on, just letting you know what this episode of SmackDown was essentially going to be about, and that's basically what it was. Seeing backstage segments with Paul Heyman, Solo Sikoa, and Jimmy Uso, and then later on in the show, Jey Uso continuing to channel his inner Shield, entering in through the crowd, which that was a pretty weird segment, I guess, just the main event as a whole. And we'll definitely get to that at some point, but this episode of SmackDown was on February 24, 2023. We just mentioned we didn't catch the city, but
I was
that's
going
the
to ask,
date.
just since you're on that, do you think it was a pre-record from last week, maybe? Or
What makes you say that? Because it's definitely possible, but personally, I don't follow anybody that would tweet that because, like I said, I mean, I don't follow like WWE and certain people who like to really keep you up to date on what's going on because of spoilers. I'll watch Raw or SmackDown a little bit delayed, and I don't want to stay off of Twitter because there's other things I have to get on Twitter for. So I just, I tune out WWE and I watch it on my terms, and I do think that's a nice, enjoyable experience. But because of that, I'll miss certain things. Several news items will be broken to me, and I'm like, whoa, what? No, yeah, that happened about 5 hours ago. So I'm definitely out of the loop, I guess, if this was pre-taped or not. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. They've done things like this before, but
yeah, just a question. I mean, I'm not for sure on it or anything like that, but possibilities. I mean, this has been, or I guess you could say, circumstances like this has happened before. Like the SmackDown being in Montreal, Elimination Chamber. Knock another one out, I guess you could say. But I don't know, just a question.
Well, I have a question for you. Are you ready to start talking about this episode of SmackDown?
Oh, yeah, man. We can definitely get into it like this. I mean, of course, we get the little Bloodline Sami Zayn video package, to start us off. Give us a little brief recap of what's been going on these past couple weeks leading into what we got going on today. But we do start it off with Kayla Braxton. She is backstage, and, of course, I guess you could say Jimmy approaches her, and she just asks if he's heard from Jay, and he said that he hasn't, or that he's been calling and texting, but no responses or anything like that. But if Jay wants to talk to Jimmy, he can see him in the ring. Basically kind of took that like, dang, he's like kind of taking it kind of serious.
Exactly.
Of course, you got to kind of come see me face to face if you want to kind of
that did set the tone.
It did from the very
beginning. It let
beginning.
you know where Jimmy kind of stands, and I guess his approach for all this.
Oh yeah, and you can kind of see like his whole attitude and everything like that towards the main event. I guess you could say like his body language and everything like that wasn't like he was excited. No confidence coming out the ring and stuff. But oh yeah, this was a good spark to the show for me.
This was a very Jimmy Uso revealing episode. You know what I mean? Like, this was one of those episodes where he had an opportunity here to show his loyalty, whether it's to his brother, the Bloodline, Roman Reigns specifically, or possibly even Sami Zayn. I didn't really know which direction he was going to go, to be honest, like, before tonight, I'll say. Because, I mean, like Sammy mentions later on, he was kind of first, the ones that were like pulling Sammy in. So I always thought that his animosity towards Sammy was a little bit like, huh? Like, you were the one that wanted them in the group. But either way, nonetheless, I was a little bit, I guess, shook by just how sturdy and how firm he was tonight, being on his side, and I guess just a ruthless side to him that you don't really get a chance to see, a whole lot with, I guess, Jimmy not getting the spotlight very often.
Oh, yeah. I mean, of course, I see that. And it seems like a little bit more of personality is starting to come out from him. You're starting to see, like, at least a little bit of emotion rather than, just that happy-go-lucky guy that was bringing Sami Zayn in and everything like that. You kind of get the touchy, the Philly part of him, with all this situation going on, it's kind of cut deep a little bit, I guess you could say. And I just think it's great, man. The emotion that everybody is giving into it, just like the acting, I guess you could say, that's involved in all this, man. It's just like it's actual personal stuff going on, So I'm all for it. Let me just say that. I am all for this stuff, and I just keep hoping that they slow burn it like how they're doing, and just keep going about their business, I guess you could say, until we get to them fireworks.
It was a good way for, to kill like a good solid 3 or 4 minutes of SmackDown, Like, it was a good way for them to get your feet wet, I guess, kind of give you a little bit of an appetizer, so to speak, before this nice 6-man tag match, which I felt like Brilliant stuff. I don't know who put this match together, but obviously the people that were working in the ring had a lot to do with it, and it definitely got me going. Like, I was like, man, this right here, anytime you see Imperium in the ring, number one, you know that wrestling is going to be very crisp, is a good word to use whenever Imperium gets in the ring. They're really efficient, if I could borrow Xavier Woods' word.
Oh, yeah.
They're very well-oiled, they're a very polished group, so six-man tag is literally what they excel at, what they thrive at. I wouldn't mind seeing their record in six-man tag matches, because I bet it's pretty impressive, just at least on the main roster here on SmackDown. But in this particular match, they go up against Ricochet, Braun Strowman, and Madcap Moss. Or is it Riddick Moss now?
It's still Madcap.
It's still Madcap? Okay, just making sure. I didn't know if he went all the way back to his old-school character. But I feel like, Samantha does a phenomenal job with her ring introductions.
Oh, yeah.
And it's no secret, but I think that Imperium is her best. That's the one that she just hits to a T every time. I will say, though, Roman Reigns is another one that... And then Ricochet. She gives Ricochet just that little extra every time. She announces him like he's Roman Reigns just to try to put him... Because an announcer can put you over. And I feel like whenever you have an announcer like Samantha Irvin and someone like Gunther and Imperium as a group, it's a very good combination. Just one of those things that gets overlooked. A lot of people probably don't even put the two together. But Lillian Garcia with Triple H, just Triple H, like the way she said it back in the day, is kind of synonymous with his character. And there's a lot of other, voices that are just synonymous with certain wrestlers. But Samantha Irvin is definitely carving herself a nice niche here on SmackDown. I hope she stays the ring announcer for a very long time. Another thing, a little fun fact here that Corbin, no, sorry, Barrett. Wade Barrett pointed out on commentary. I just got his name wrong there. I didn't know Madcap's brother was the new defensive coordinator for the Cardinals.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty interesting to hear.
See, I knew that him and Emma were at the Super Bowl decked out in Eagles gear. I thought he was just an Eagles fan. I didn't realize that his brother was probably on the Eagles staff because the Eagles defensive coordinator took the head coaching job for the Cardinals and likely brought Madcap's brother with him. And that's just how the coaching business works. He's probably only going to be there for a handful of years and he'll go somewhere else. That's just the nature of being a coach. But I just thought that was a little bit of a fun fact. I didn't know that. But the night wasn't all swell for Madcap. He takes the pin here from Gunther as Drew McIntyre watches on from the stage and then eventually gets attacked from behind by the Viking Raiders. He takes off his leather jacket and then just gets thrown around. This is one of those moments where as I was watching, I realized, okay, that's why he took his jacket off. So they could get some good throws, throw him around real good, make it look a little bit worse, and get a good beat down on him. I remember in particular whenever Hulk Hogan came back to WWE, and he was on SmackDown, and he had a feud with someone. I can't even remember who the hell it was at the time, but they literally drug him with a motorcycle, and he was wearing a thick, thick leather jacket for that reason, so he could basically get drug on concrete. And I just remember seeing like the really thick jacket and putting the pieces together as a kid, like, that's why he was wearing that thing. Is so he can, because immediately I thought, oh my gosh, he just got drugged with a motorcycle. How is he not, like, got road rash out the ass? Like, I was wondering, like, how the hell was he not just completely ripped up, And obviously I just think, okay, well, let me just think about this for a second. His really thick jacket that he typically doesn't always wear. This was red and yellow Hulk Hogan, This was basically Hulkamania. I mean, it was an older version. He wasn't in WWE in the 2000s for a while, but he did come back for just a little bit, and he feuded with a couple people like The Rock. I think even Brock Lesnar got him some. But there was some good times where he was on SmackDown. The Fist SmackDown, that old school on UPN. And what was the other one? The CW, I think, maybe had it for a little bit. I don't know exactly what it was, but SmackDown has bounced around for a while, and that's why I'm so glad that it's landed on such a powerhouse like Fox. Mm-hmm. It just sucks that, Fox and DirecTV are acting like a bunch of sissy schoolgirls and can't get their stuff together and making me have to pay for it. I have to watch SmackDown on the Fire Stick. But, I'm not complaining. It is what it is, okay? We're getting through this. Thought I wrote on my shirt last night whenever we were recording some Football Function episodes, because I have my pen here,
Yeah.
I most of the time when we're recording a podcast, I have a pen in my hand for, notes, reasons. Every now and then I'll catch myself doodling a little bit, just here and there. And, it is what it is. But yesterday I paid for it, and maybe I need to put the pen down because I'm just sitting here going, I'm making points left and right, talking with my hands a little bit, and I'm just, someone else is talking, I just look down on my shorts and on my hoodie.
Yeah,
I got a freaking pin mark, and I just threw it down, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. But anyways, what do you think about Drew McIntyre getting attacked from the Viking Raiders? I feel like he can do so much better for an opponent creeping up into WrestleMania season. I mean, I get it. They're trying to, creep him up into the Gunther storyline. That's why he was out there watching him, right? Like Drew McIntyre versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. That has WrestleMania written all over it. But the Viking Raiders just keep trying to, I guess, they're doing what Seth Rollins is accusing Logan Paul of doing. They're using Drew McIntyre for clout. They're using him to try to get over and try to get the rub. No, we attack him enough times. We're going to end up being on the kickoff show for WrestleMania. We're going to be the ones that have to take on Drew McIntyre. But it's not going to happen, right? Obviously, a little bit of joking. They had no hit row on SmackDown tonight.
That was good. What do you mean?
It was noticeable.
Yeah, it was noticeable.
And immediately you were all chipper too when you came over. You're all happy. This was such a great episode of SmackDown. So maybe that's why.
I didn't complain about anything that happened tonight, especially with this, I guess you could say. Couple points before I get into the Drew McIntyre part.
Floor's yours.
I was going to say the consistency that they're doing with Braun Strowman and Ricochet, definitely an A+ in my book. And adding Madcap in, definitely hoping this is a push for him in some type of way. I don't think so, but gosh, it's better than seeing him in little backstage packages with Emma, just saying that or giving him little boosts of confidence, with the "you can do it, babe" type stuff. But other than that, man, like I said, hopefully he's getting a little something, especially with his IC match that he had with Gunther, But other than that, man, Ricochet, not gonna lie, I do like the little gear that he had on. He had like the little, what would you say, like cut tank top that Braun Strowman was wearing, some black pants and some
like
black
the little
shoes.
Thin
Yeah.
pieces up there.
Yeah, So I was like, okay, he's trying to at least make this work between them, some type of formality, I guess you could say. But other than that, man, I think they're doing pretty good on their part, keeping them together, given their little beef that they had and stuff. But Drew McIntyre, man, of course, I kind of see it as a Sheamus and Gunther type road. But Viking Raiders, can't really say that I'm mad about what they're doing. Of course, they're trying to keep themselves relevant with this attacking from the behind stuff. But like you said, man, I don't think Drew should be involved with them. I think, of course, he's on the higher status. Maybe they're just doing this to keep their foot in the door, keep people seeing them, But, yeah, he definitely needs to move on. That's what I think.
For sure. Speaking of moving on, we can move on to another segment really quickly. Dom and Rhea Ripley interrupt a little bit of a backstage interaction between Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar. Mm-hmm. They were, talking a little bit. And then Dom creeps up. And we get a face-to-face between Santos, which I feel like this was a pretty cool moment where he tried to stick up for Rey Mysterio, basically saying, if you don't already know how to, respect your father, then let me teach you, pretty much. And, they teased that they could go at it, and then Rhea Ripley, of course, steps in as to protect Dominic. This was...
It's lean.
Yes, this was... Ooh, that would be nice. This was definitely some, I guess, a way to boil, like pretend like the Rey Mysterio and Dominic, I guess, program, just their feud in general, in this figurative example, is a boiling pot of water. And they're just kind of slowly starting to get more and more hot. This segment right here, I feel like, turned up the stove a little bit. You know, that's the expression I was trying to look for, is that this has been really a slow burn, a really slow boil, where they've had the stove on low, and it's kind of just, there's those little bubbles at the very bottom, but it's not, the water isn't actually moving yet, And then obviously, whenever we get the match later on tonight, and Rey Mysterio or Dominic goes out there, they definitely crank that stove up a little bit, and we get some heat, finally. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on again. You got anything on this? The Rey Mysterio backstage
Oh, no,
segment?
yeah, nothing too much on this, like I said. I mean, I do like that Santos is, stepping up, I guess you could say, kind of being that somebody to look up to Rey type thing, but
Yes.
the pittiness, man, from Dom is definitely he's definitely getting a round of applause from me just because the way that he's reacting to it, just this is a little situation that we're dealing with, and I think he's just playing that sad son on the other side of it perfect, I guess you could say. So I think he's starting to do much better in his role. And then on this next part, man, of course, we can just roll into this little backstage interview with Solo and Jimmy. And, of course, Paul Heyman, he's just extra ear back there kind of just listening in. But Jimmy, he's just talking to Solo, just telling him about the situation between him and Jay. And he just doesn't know where he stands ever since the Montreal situation, And it kind of makes sense, but then again, man, who knows what the heck is really going to go on between these two guys. But keep on going with this. Paul Heyman, of course, he just kind of steps in. He goes,
No neck brace, by the way.
oh, no, yeah.
Must be a
And then, of
quick
course, did you notice his dyed hair, everything like that? Yeah, he's getting a little touched up, too.
I was looking at Jay's braids, to be honest. That's one thing that was very or Jimmy, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's on me. Jimmy's braids, when I was looking at that, every time it was a Jimmy segment, I was like, man, he's rocking that look. I got to give it to him because Jimmy he's tried a lot of different looks over the years.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to admit, that one's definitely doing well. And also Solo, looking rather swole.
Oh, yeah,
sitting
on
there.
top. Yeah,
Yes,
it's kind of exactly.
exactly.
At the chest, I guess you could say, and
Yeah,
stuff like
arms
that. Mm-hmm.
nice and oiled up too, so they're looking real shiny. Just he definitely was looking like he's been hitting some bicep workouts for sure. Maybe hitting
Some
the
muscle
back and
mass or
by. I don't know. He probably doesn't need to be honest. He's already
I bet
massive.
he could just probably build into
He needs
it.
it to cut probably, if anything.
Yep.
But anything else on this? Just a segment in
and
general.
of course, Paul Heyman, he just kind of steps in, and tells Jimmy that he needs to go in, handle this face to face. I'm trying to remember the exact quote: face to face, twin to twin, Uso to Uso, just personally.
Yeah, man to man, twin to twin, brother to brother, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
I mean,
so.
yeah, just trying to put that little nice quote out there and everything like that. But I mean, just the way that he delivered that, man, you just kind of felt, oh yeah, I need to take this advice from the wise man and go out there and handle business and find out where Jay stands. So that's basically where we're left with this. Questionable still, and is Jay gonna pop up tonight? Who knows?
Who knows? I know we don't. We haven't seen it yet. We're going through it just like this.
Just riding.
But anyways, let's see. So we got that out of the way. Now LA Knight goes to the ring and he cuts a promo about WrestleMania and just basically talking about, hey, you're going to have a LA WrestleMania without LA Knight? Yeah, right. We're not going to do that. But he's actually interrupted by the New Day, or as he liked to call them, the Nerd Day. And they come out, they make valid points as well, saying, hey, you don't just come out here and just say, I want a WrestleMania moment, bam, hand it to me. It's not how it works around here. And they talk about how being nerds has made them a lot of money, so shout out to them. And, it was a nice little verbal joust from the New Day, who, LA Knight can hold his own against anybody, but you came over and you pointed that out, that you were impressed with how the New Day handled their mic work tonight.
Oh yeah, I felt like they just kind of buried it, LA Knight, and I don't say that with strong confidence because I feel like LA Knight should be the one that's on top of these guys, but I don't know, man. Whenever he came out, I was questioning. I was like, where you been, type stuff in my head. And of course, like, did you notice how his hair was kind of thrown off, rather than did, I guess you could say?
Yeah.
I was kind of questioning. I was like, did Bray still got you in a chokehold or something, type stuff? I don't know, man. It just kind of got to me. I just felt like after the dark match, it didn't live up to what
The pitch black match.
or, yeah,
Got to be
pitch
specific,
black.
because
Sorry,
dark match is
sorry,
something else.
Sorry, after shows type stuff. But anyways, yeah, man, the pitch black match, I just didn't feel like it lived up to expectation. I said this already, but for him to come back, I felt like he's down here on the bottom of the floor type
Yes.
stuff. And for the New Day to trump him, it just squashed him a little bit more. And I'm just like, gosh, dang, man, this is not a good look. But I don't know. We roll with it. He kind of like picks himself up, I guess you could say. And I don't know, man. I just don't know where to stand with him right now.
Well, not only does he lose on the mic, but he loses in the ring. Kofi Kingston beats him with a Trouble in Paradise. That's what this little back and forth led to, was a one-on-one match between Kofi and LA. And, Xavier Woods kind of, he's hanging out at ringside. He gets involved a little bit, nothing too crazy, but he does, interfere enough to cost LA Knight the match, where he is a little bit protected, or he didn't just straight up lose clean to Kofi Kingston. But up next, before we move on, go ahead.
I was going to say, then during the match, I kind of felt like this is where he kind of picked himself up on just like the camera picking up what he was saying to like Xavier Woods on the side of the ring
About the
and
trombone.
stuff. It's just funny, man, how he approaches it. But that flying shoulder tackle, you see that?
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty nice, dude. That was my big bullet point that I put on there. I was like, gosh.
Probably one of your favorite in-ring moves, or at least of this match.
I mean, yeah, of this match, yeah. It definitely, I was like, dang, pat yourself whenever that happened. It looked pretty cool. But, yeah, it was a good match. Don't like that he lost, but here we are.
Yep, we move on. Up next, we get the highly anticipated Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley face-to-face, or at least that's what we were expecting, right? That's what we thought we were going to get. We get somebody from Judgment Day, but it's not quote-unquote mommy. It's Dom Mysterio, and he comes out, and, he's telling the queen to hold her horses and hold on a little bit. He goes out there, and he starts to give her some BS about how they have some similarities, so to speak, how they're both generational WWE superstars, meaning he's a third generation, Charlotte Flair's a second generation, and, he's kind of sort of speaking, in the accent he typically does, referring to Rhea Ripley as mommy. And Charlotte basically puts a stop to that and says, look, I actually have a Latino husband at home who calls me mommy, so you're kind of you're barking up the wrong tree right now, little guy, all right? She even says this is adult time, and all those shots that Dom's probably heard the whole time he's been in WWE. But he also kind of gets personal by just saying that they might relate a little bit due to their absent fathers, or, just the way that their fathers have basically just been, quote-unquote, a-holes, is the way Dominic tried to portray it. And he said, mine was even worse than yours. And it was just funny the way that he was saying it. And obviously, Rhea Ripley does eventually come out to save Dom as Charlotte was getting a little bit closer, basically telling him, look, dude, I'm about to probably put you in the figure eight and just make you tap out really quickly. But like I said, Rhea comes out. Dom eventually has to hold her back, but we do get the face-to-face. And it's crazy how small Rhea looks next to Charlotte. Just because Rhea towers over everybody.
It's just the heels, though, man, I think.
It could be. Yeah, for sure. It's just that image that we saw. But seeing those two go at it at another Mania is going to be money. And I have heard rumors that it's going to main event night one.
Nice. I mean, that definitely wouldn't be a bad way to start the night. I mean, the WrestleMania two-night thing, but I guarantee, man, this is going to be just exciting through and through whenever it's, comes to and everything. But this whole segment, man, I felt like I was saying earlier, Dom, he definitely doing his best in this situation that he got. And I don't feel like he was hesitant on the way that he approached this promo with Charlotte. I felt like he was confident in what he was saying, delivering it like in a fluid way, I guess you could say. And I don't know, man, I just feel like he's starting to embrace it a little bit more, like starting to get the feel for it. And of course, anything new, you're kind of like slow to get up to pace on it and stuff like that and moving. But after a while, you just kind of fell into it, I guess you could say. And I feel like that's what he's doing. He's doing it the right way.
Well, let's move on to another segment here in the show. And this one, Natalya, does she request this match in the trainer's room?
Well, she wasn't medically cleared.
But she just says, no, I want to do it anyways.
She wanted to, or, it was up to the medical staff to kind of do that stuff. But, ended up being that she was able to do this. So Adam Pearce made it official.
And Tegan just so happened to be standing in the background. And she was like, you need some backup. Well, she offers herself as backup to Natalya, who goes out there and tries to go at it with Shayna Baszler, who has a new shirt. That new yellow shirt. I mean, is it new? First time I seen it, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not 100% sure.
Limb by limb.
Of course, we barely see. Okay, this is starting to get the start of it, but I didn't notice.
You didn't notice the shirt?
No.
Yellow shirt, bright yellow. Are you kidding?
Of course. I mean, she always comes out with the one, wrapped around her neck or something, little towel or something. That's what I kind of think, but that I can't see her with, the new shirt.
There you go. Yeah,
Good impersonation right there.
the yellow shirt definitely jumped out to me. Even Ronda Rousey was wearing it. Tegan,
Okay. See, now I can see it. The one that
Tegan
Ronda
gets herself into some trouble after this match is over. Natalya taps out in this match, but Tegan, because she gets attacked, number one. She was kind of just standing there at ringside, and Shayna Baszler just kind of kicks her or something like that, like through the ropes. Basically kicks her to the announce table, and then she comes back in the ring. They end up leaving, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, that is. But as they're leaving, you hear Ronda say, all right, Skittles, see you next week. You're going to taste the rainbow, something like that. And it was just like, man, how many times are we going to talk about this? How many times are we going to have to sit here and cringe at a Ronda Rousey promo where she says some stuff like that, and we're just like, man, what are we supposed to do in this situation?
I don't know, man. I had a little chuckle about it. I mean, I guess she's trying to work some type of angle, you know. I don't know, comedic, I guess you could say, because I can't take her seriously, so I don't know, man. But yeah, that whole ending right there was probably like best part of the match, I guess you could say. But man, do I like the freaking Tegan Nox little gear, like the way she just dresses, bro. I mean,
Like her
total,
look,
yeah,
her aesthetic.
Total Lita to me in a way. So I mean, that's good.
Total
Nostalgia.
Lita? Is this a spinoff from Total Divas?
I guess you could say that.
Okay, you might be onto something there, bud.
Yeah.
Maybe Lita's going to have to trademark that before you do. But let's go ahead and move on to something else. This is a Firefly Funhouse, and I'm just going to be honest, this was creepy as hell. He was like watching a little bit of like a video, it looked like, but he was in one of his costumes. I don't even know what the hell this was, honestly. But he was watching Bobby Lashley and what he said on Monday Night Raw. And I don't know, he put on a black mask and he was saying a bunch of other stuff. This was hard to follow for me. Like, it was just extremely like, ooh, it was here and then it's there. Like, is there any time where Bray Wyatt's like cryptic riddle type style, like, does it ever come into effect where we're like, oh, that's why he was saying all that 3 or 4 weeks ago whenever we were supposed to be paying attention, but it was all happening so fast?
I'm hoping so, because if he's just throwing this random stuff out there just to confuse me like this, man, I mean, I don't get it. I mean, the one thing that kind of stuck out to me was the Uncle Howdy whenever he was doing or showing the little weather report over there on the black screen, or green screen, I guess you could say. And I want to say that he, she, whoever it was saying, I am everybody. You know, if you kind of caught that little chant or whatever. And I was kind of curious, like, what if, man, see, I don't even want to go into it. You know, let's just leave that for another time. Just my thinking right there. But, yeah, like this whole thing, man, hard to digest, like you were saying. I don't get the angles. I mean, if this was this Firefly Funhouse, can't even get it out of my tongue right now. If this was what was going on before, man, I'm kind of glad I missed this and just saw the Fiend as an actual just character in the ring type stuff. Fine, you know, but all this other stuff, like I said, if it's dark, I'm with it. All this going back and forth with personalities and type stuff or whatever he got's going, definitely confusing me, and it's not for me, let me tell you that.
Well, time out. Let's not have the Firefly Funhouse take some ricochet shots over here.
That's just for me, man. Like I said, like, I'm pretty sure you're used to it and everything, but for me to just catch this how it is right now, man, the little kids laughing in the background type stuff. I mean,
it's a child show, man.
It kind of gives me, yeah, it's just kind of, I mean, it has that little creepy, you know, like in a scary sense, you know, but I just can't follow it. It's just it's just hard for me, you know. But all the dark stuff that he kind of does, you know, I'm cool with.
Yeah, it's gonna take a little bit to grow on you. If
it's gonna have to grow on me for sure, because I don't get it.
Yeah, it'll definitely have to be something that you adjust to, which is all right. You know, nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. Not everything is just immediately over with you. You know, some things take a little bit of time, and it might not ever get over with you, which that's okay too. But isn't there something else on the show that we got to talk about next?
Oh yeah, we can roll into this little last part. Sorry about that. Of the little bloodline saga that we got going on for today. Jimmy, I mean, of course, he is told by Paul that he should handle Jay tonight, you know, or he did get it, or Paul, he received a text from Roman saying that if he doesn't, Roman's going to handle Jay next week, you know, so we're getting a little what would you say, threat from the tribal chief through a text text message, and he's just kind of giving out what he expects, I guess you could say. And, that's what we roll into. We're going to either get Jimmy over here handling this, or, of course, like we said, or Roman said, him handling it personally next week on SmackDown. So that's where we leave that.
Yeah, we up next, we get Rey Mysterio versus Karrion Kross. Dominic Mysterio comes out, costs Rey Mysterio the match, and then things get personal. This is what we were talking about, where with the boiling water analogy that I used earlier, whether it landed or not, now is when it all comes together. And we turned it up some notches, man. Dominic Mysterio was physically shoving Rey Mysterio, telling him to be a man, and just, pushing him. And there was times where we thought Rey was going to do something. This is classic build-up. We want you to knock this dude out, but we know he doesn't want to. We've seen this so many times. I love whenever they do this, man. And the fact that it's Rey Mysterio and his son, we're going to see these two at WrestleMania 39. Sign me up for it.
Oh, yeah, man. This, like I said, this whole little situation that they got going on, playing into just something exciting to look forward to, I guess you could say. But Karrion Kross, man, I did notice that he got those new tattoos. If you've seen any of that.
Karrion Kross got a new tattoo?
Yeah, man.
Where at?
Like all on his shoulder.
I mean, he already has so many.
It
might take a little bit for me to notice.
Of course, you could see like the shine, how the light was hitting and everything like that. And you could tell that it was like brand new. But man, I will never get over this or their theme song, Karrion Kross, man. That whole black and white, just the way that they play their little character coming into the ring. I do wish that, like the camera would pan in that better angle to where
it only goes on Scarlett, I know.
No, I'm definitely not mad at that. But yeah, where Karrion Kross like just comes up behind her whenever she goes down and stuff like that. Man, that'd be freaking. They did it a couple times, It was spot on type stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why they haven't just kept up with it, but man, their whole little, like I said, entrance, man, I freaking love that thing, man.
Just be glad Michael Scott didn't just hear you say that sentence.
What would he have said?
I mean, he would have thrown in at least one. That's what she said. But, I mean, if you're a listener, just go ahead and hit that rewind button about 30 seconds, maybe a minute or so, and listen to John's most recent sentence if you care to do so. But I will go ahead and let you talk about this main event segment here, because you've been tracking this Bloodline segment all night. You've been monitoring, the saga, the backstage interactions. And I felt like this one, like we said, it was a big moment for Jimmy Uso, sorry. Man, just him coming out and making that pitch to Jay at first, and then out of nowhere, Sammy popping up, them two having that face-to-face interaction, exchanging words, both making points somewhat, and obviously Jay showing up. But man, like, take us through this.
Well, on this one, I mean, it's great. Like I was saying, Jimmy, he didn't come out with any excitement and stuff like that. It felt like his confidence was probably like at a mid-level type stuff, coming out, just him, whenever Samantha Irvin announces it, she announces one half of the Usos, and that doesn't sound right, as fans, as people that are watching this all the time, whenever she said that, you're already taken away from the whole dynamic, all the stuff that they got going on in this, and it kind of just, you get that sad feeling that maybe this is the split between them. But I don't know, man. Whenever she did that, I just kind of felt for him, and then he came out, he asked for a mic, and he basically just says, that they're brothers, he's been there, or that he'll be there for Jay through anything, and he just needs Jay to be the same, back, or have his back through all this stuff that they got going on right now. And then, of course, we get a little intruder, somebody in a little black hoodie. And who could it be? Not Jay. My dog.
My dog.
Sammy. And this is where it kind of gets a little heartfelt. Sammy comes in here. He starts telling like the whole little situation on like how Jimmy was the first one to bring him into the whole bloodline, accept him for the person that he was, referencing the My Dog like plenty of times, I mean, of course, that was their little chemistry, that was the beginning of all this. And he just kind of goes to, or Sammy just kind of goes to the part where, Jay or Jimmy, he didn't hesitate at Royal Rumble to pull the trigger,
Yeah.
And Jimmy, I mean, you can see that he's hitting him, he's starting to jab at him a couple times, and it's starting to, I wouldn't say weaken him, but he's starting to remember that, it looks like, like just the whole situation that they went through, and then he kind of just snaps, he's just kind of saying, what would you expect, like Sammy won Jimmy over, and then of course it took like, what would you say, at least like 3 months before Jay kind of accepted Sammy for what he was trying to do, what he was bringing to the table, I guess you could say. And you can just tell that, like, like the whole situation that they went through just wasn't what was planned for any of them. Things just kind of fell apart in certain situations. Jimmy kind of says, like, you had the chance to pull the trigger on Kevin Owens, but you pulled the trigger on Roman Reigns. So that's why I'm going back to the what would you expect. Of course you're gonna do the little beat down on him, but whole little situation on the other side, Sammy's trying to kind of, like, what would you say, like, protect himself with his words, saying that he had to go through so much stuff to test his loyalty.
He's justifying his actions and his thought process.
Right. And then of course he kind of says, it hurt, the way that it turned on him, I guess you could say, and out of nowhere, you start to see everybody turn their attention to the back of the tunnel, at the top of the ring or the arena. My bad.
The stairs.
Yeah. And then,
channeling his inner shield.
And of course, who do we got? Jay out here.
Main event, Jey Uso.
Looking pretty 90 serious, overall in 2K. No facial expression, just straight stare at the ring, I guess you could say. Slowly does his little creep up to the ring, and what starts happening? Jimmy starts attacking Sammy, sweet chin, and then Jimmy turns around, gets his little attention distracted by Jay coming down in the corner out of nowhere. Louisville kick, Sammy.
Boom!
Yeah, man. I mean, it was just so much. I mean, the way that he took that, it looked like he really took it to the jaw type stuff, the way he came down. But I don't know, man. I do like the one that he did on Roman, the way he just kind of hit him and he just falls straight down. That was freaking awesome.
The face-off really wasn't a face-off. It was just a little bit of like an eye contact and encounter that we got with Jay and Sammy, though.
Oh, yeah, when he was exiting the ring.
Yeah.
Kind of going towards the barricade.
Yeah, like to leave through the crowd.
Yeah, I was thinking that Sammy was going to go to that little section where Jay was, and then, like you said, that little stare, mad dog type thing, like it seemed like it pushed Sammy in the other direction. He went about his business. That's what I kind of took from that, man. Just after the kick. Like, it seemed like he was coming down in having Sammy's back in a way, but after, watching your freaking brother take a Louisville kick, I guarantee that kind of does something to you.
There's just been so many big wrinkles, so many turns, and so much depth to this angle, to this storyline.
It's great, man.
Like, it's been the best part about wrestling. This is how the show opened, pretty much. It's how it goes off the air. And, man, week by week, we just continue to get further, and eventually it's going to have a massive payoff, hopefully, at WrestleMania. And there's just a lot of reasons to be excited, man.
Oh, yeah.
There really is. And I'm definitely looking forward to next week's SmackDown. But
we do got Roman coming back.
Yes, that's massive. What else?
Liv versus Rhea.
Yes.
Looking forward to that one.
Rhea's going to have to, handle business really quickly.
Live for brutality, man. They were a freaking tag team at one time. Okay,
yeah.
Just hug it out and get out the way.
And I think that we're going to get reminded how they split and why they split and why one of them is a Royal Rumble winner on her way to WrestleMania, while the other one is having to have fans on the internet make her gear. That's not a shot at Liv. That's just saying, hey,
just giving people
the luck isn't on her side.
To make money, man.
Luck isn't on her side is all I'm saying.
And don't freaking lie and say that Elimination Chamber outfit wasn't fire.
Oh, it was.
That was fire.
It was very much so. When she, made her cameo on Chucky and had the Chucky themed gear. Like, there's so many reasons to like and appreciate Liv, but
man.
It's just not her time.
Give her freaking flowers while she deserves them, okay?
Yeah. Maybe soon. Maybe next year.
Maybe 3 years, like this Rhea thing.
3 years?
Hey, man, it takes time to develop.
Man, she's floating around the mid-card for 3 years. I don't want to see her sniffing the WWE Women's Championship anytime soon.
Oh, man. And also, man, we got Tegan Nox and Natalya versus Shayna and Ronda.
Oh, Skittles.
Yeah, we're going to taste the rainbow tomorrow.
Okay.
Week.
I know you like that. I know you're a Skittles guy.
Oh, man, but that's just funny stuff right there. But, yeah, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up.
Wrap it up, bud. Put it in the mailbox. Let the mailman come. Send it to Matt, and he will distribute it for all of these fine listeners and patron subscribers and just members of the WWE Podcast fam. We definitely appreciate you guys taking the time out of your week to tune into the SmackDown review, whether you are a weekly listener, like regularly, or this is your first time. Either way, we appreciate you. Hopefully you will come back next week. We will continue rolling here. This was the 123rd 123 SmackDown review that I've been a part of. Got a nice ongoing streak here. And we're going to keep this bad boy rolling, starting with next week. So you better tune in, because we got some big stuff coming. With all that being said, have a damn good week. Walk passionately in the direction of your dreams. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.